Good morning. My name is Brenda Schaefer-Pellenin, and I'm a planner with the Arrowhead Area Agency on Aging. I use she, her pronouns. By way of physical description, I am a petite, middle-aged woman with a red pixie cut, wearing an olive sweater and a floral scarf. And today I am joined by my colleague, Ashley Craiglow with the Arrowhead Area Agency on Aging, and Ashley will be managing our technology and manning the chat. We'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining us for today's session on home modifications. Before we start, we've got a few housekeeping items. We are excited to announce that today's webinar will be accessible to a wider audience. We have arranged for American Sign Language interpreters who will be present throughout the session. These interpreters will rotate about every 20 minutes, ensuring that everyone can follow the content effectively. Additionally, we are recording the entire webinar with ASL interpretation. These recordings will be available on our YouTube channel for later viewing. So whether you attend the session live or you catch up later, you'll be able to have the opportunity to engage with the material in a way that suits your needs. I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can keep up with the latest additions to our video library. We are always looking for suggestions for future webinar topics. If you have a suggestion for a topic or a speaker, please feel free to send those my way at the email, which I will share in the chat. Please keep your microphone set to mute. Just a note, if you experience any issues with bandwidth or audio quality, it often helps to disable your camera. If you'd like, you can enter your first name and organization or the community that you're from in the chat box and what you're hoping to get out of today's session. If you have any questions during today's session, please feel free to enter your questions into the chat and we will address them at the end of the presentation. If we do run out of time, we will get those answers for you and send those in a follow-up email. At the close of today's session, you will see a quick evaluation of the session pop up in your browser. Please take a moment to complete that survey. It helps us greatly when we're planning future sessions. And one last quick reminder, please visit our Facebook page for more information on our upcoming sessions, which include our April series on advanced planning as part of our Get Your Ducks in a Row regional campaign, and our May webinar on long-term care staffing. You can also check out our website at arrowheadaging.org. So about the Arrowhead Area Agency on Aging. The Arrowhead Area Agency on Aging is designated by the Minnesota Board on Aging as the Area Agency on Aging for the planning and service area under the authority of Title III of the Older Americans Act. The Arrowhead Area Agency on Aging is committed to helping older adults maintain their highest level of independence. Area agencies on aging are regional organizations that help provide services, supports, and information for just about everything that older adults and their families can need. Minnesota has 7 AAAs across the state that are local connections for older Minnesotans and the community supports as they age. The Arrowhead Area Agency on Aging's planning and service area, as designated by the Board on Aging, includes Aiken, Carlton, Cook, Itasca, Koochiching, Lake, and St. Louis counties. Now I would like to take a moment to read our Arrowhead Area Agency on Aging land acknowledgement. As we support our mission to help older adults maintain their highest level of independence, we do this while being respectful of the space we are being welcomed into by Indigenous people. We strive to deepen our understanding of the multiple ways in which people see and understand land and acknowledge the Indigenous people who have relationships with this land. We also acknowledge the decades of historical trauma, loss, and grief experienced by Indigenous people. It is our promise to not only recognize these truths, but also to take action to show support of our Indigenous elders, neighbors, and friends, and understand our place within the past, present, and future of this land. We know that this is just one step in recognizing and honoring the sovereignty of tribal nations. So today, in interest of respecting everyone's time and to make sure we have time for everyone's presentations, we're going to keep our introductions brief. We are honored to be joined by today's presenters, including Carol Wimmer with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, commonly referred to as USDA. We have Beth Davies with the Arrowhead Economic Opportunity Agency, also known as AEOA. Don Burnett with Access North, We have Mary Junila with the Lighthouse Center for Vital Living. And we have Jamie Magellan, who is with Itasca Habitat for Humanity. So I want to thank our presenters for being with us today, and I will now turn things over to Carol.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carol Dimmer. I'm with the Single Family Housing with Rural Development, the Department of Agriculture. And Rural Development offers over 50 financial assistance programs for a wide variety of rural applications. We have business programs, housing programs, community programs. The community program provides funding to help community facilities in areas such as municipal water, sewer projects, hotels, clinics, libraries, emergency services, and much more. And the Business Center program provides funding opportunities for rural small business through loans and loan guarantees and grants. And then the single family housing handles providing housing help and loans for sometimes grants, sometimes loans, sometimes a combination of both. USDA offers a number of housing programs that do assist with home ownership and, like I said, repairs for current single-family homeowners. There's also multifamily housing projects. Today, we're going to discuss our 502 direct program, our purchase program, and our 504 loan grant funds to assist low to very low income applicants to purchase a home and current single family homeowners to make repairs to homes. Next. And then we have all at a state level. Minnesota has 11 area offices that process 502 direct and 504 repair applications throughout the state, and a state office in St. Paul. Interested applicants could contact an area office that serves the area that they reside in. So the map will show you with the contact information. Minnesota's direct program is centralized, and what that means is applicants can submit applications by mail or email to any office, and their application will be assigned to a processor anywhere in the state. It provides better efficiency and faster processing. So we can go past the map screen to the program information. These numbers are probably not quite right anymore with the new funding bills and stuff, but rural development receives approximately 13 million in 502 loan funds. That's been dramatically cut since the new funding bill. They're allocated approximately 900,000 in loans and grants, and the fiscal year is from October 1st to September 30th. So with the new Congress passing, we are now in being funded through September 30th. The objective of the Section 502 Direct Home Program is to assist low to very low income applicants to obtain decent, safe, and sanitary housing in eligible areas by providing assistance, which increases applicants' repayment ability. Payment assistance is a type of subsidy that will reduce the monthly mortgage payment, and the amount of assistance is determined by your household income. Next, single family housing, there is no down payment, 100% affordable fixed rate financing. Closing costs and repairs may be included. No repayment penalties, direct loans and loan guarantees to help the moderate income rural family Americans buy safe, affordable housing in rural areas. And then we can go to the next one. And the next one, loan grant utilization. Loan funds are available for repairs to improve and modernize homes, make them safer and sanitary, to remove any health and safety hazards, or make homes accessible to household members with disabilities. For homeowners 62 years of age or older and who cannot repay a loan, grant funds are available to remove identified health and safety hazard to make the home accessible for members with disabilities. And like I said, applications for the 504 program can be filled out at your local USDA Rural Development Office or by sending in an application by email, whichever is easiest. Then we can jump to the next, loan grant eligibility. So who qualifies? The property that is in need of repairs must be owner occupied, and the applicant's sole and primary residence, and be located in an eligible rural area. These rural areas are the same for our Section 502 program for purchasing homes. There's like St. Cloud, Mankato, Rochester, they are not eligible because they are not classified as rural areas. I know St. Paul, there's down there too, there's a lot of ineligible areas, but all rural areas are pretty much eligible. Income limits apply, and we'll get into that coming up. Non-retirement assets. So if you have access to assets that are 15,000 or 20,000 for elderly household, you must reduce the 504 request with that funds. Anything over the 20,000 if you're 504, requesting repairs, 15,000 if you're non-elderly. Must be a U.S. citizen, permanent resident, or qualified alien, and must pose legal capacity and incur loans or grant obligation. The property value will also be discussed on the next slide. So the property must be considered a modest dwelling and may not have a value that is assessed or market value in excess of the area loan limits. So our area loan limits have gone up. You can see they're up to about 412,100. Tax assets and real estate websites may be considered a tool to estimate the value of the security. The loan approval official will determine if an appraisal is needed to ensure adequate security exists for the proposed loan. If the appraisal is deemed necessary, applicants need to pay an appraisal fee. The cost of the appraisal fee is $775, and appraisal is required when issuing an adverse decision based on inadequate value of the security. And then if you go to the next screen, grants, at least one applicant must be 62 years of age or older to qualify for a grant. Applicants receiving grant-only funding do not need a credit evaluation. Income limits for grant programs are based on the number of people per household, and the adjusted household income must not exceed 30% of the AMI for the applicant to be eligible for grant assistance. Repairs, but will be eligible for purchase to qualify. That wording on there doesn't make sense. So sorry about that. The maximum life grant is 10,000. Before grant funds are dispersed, the applicant must sign a grant agreement. The agreement states that the home repairs with grant funds is sold within 3 years of signing the grant contract. The full amount of the grant must be repaid. So you can go to the next slide. The applicant must have reliable income. Generally, the adjusted household income must not exceed the applicable very low income limit of 50%. Income banding applies to loan funds. In order to be eligible for a Section 504 loan or grant, the adjusted income at the time of the loan or grant approval and at loan closing must not exceed the applicable very low income limit. The repayment ability is determined by total debt to income ratio. Applicants cannot have a total debt income ratio of over 41%. Credit requirement for loan funds require that applicants must have a credit history that indicates a reasonably able and willingness to meet their debt obligations. Generally, applicants with a score of 620 or higher do not need further documentation, and applicants with serious delinquency or delinquency on a federal debt would need to be further examined. The applicant must have a credit history that demonstrates ability and willingness to meet your debt obligations. Applicants with limited credit are also allowed to use non-traditional sources of credit to demonstrate a reliable credit history, such as electric, water, and phone bills. All right, and loans under 7,500 are not secured against the property. Max loan combos is 50,000. It's at a fixed 1% interest rate for a term of 20 years on a loan. So, I mean, they make it very affordable. And then completing repairs, we have RD. We do not create the bids. You go out and you get bids, and then we go by them. They have to be a licensed and insured contractor. We recommend that applicants get at least 2 detailed itemized bids so they can compare. However, we only need to use one of the bids, or one bid is considered reasonable. If the property is built prior to 1978, the work, if it disturbs painted surfaces, lead-based paint requirements would be needed. You'd have to have a lead-based paint assessment, and we'd have to get that lead-based paint removed from the home by a licensed contractor that's lead-based certified. We're going to remove health and safety issues from the home that need to be addressed. Not all existing hazards need to be removed. However, the property can continue if it has any major health or safety issues after the planned repairs are made. RD no longer does site visits. However, if there is a major hazard, the applicant or the contractor will usually let us know. And then there are pre-construction conferences and contracts prior to the work beginning. A pre-construction conference is held with all parties. The bid, the contract, and start and completion dates are all requirements, along with the payment process is being discussed then at that time. And then we can move on to the next slide. We must be getting close here. Loan funds have more flexibility. Any repairs tied to the house are eligible, remodeling, flooring, etc. And grant funds can be used to correct health and safety hazards to make it more accessible for households or members with disabilities. We try to address all major health or all major hazards. And then, for example, we wouldn't fix the furnace if the roof. What did they? Sorry, that's something else they added in there. Okay, so there are a few restrictions when getting 504 assistance. The assistance in constructing a new dwelling, making repairs to a dwelling in such poor condition that the repairs are completed, the dwelling will still have major hazards, like you can see on there. Things like the landscaping, they are all restrictions. Construct new decks existing. If they are a safety hazard, we could do something, we can repair it, we just can't replace the whole deck. So this is a list of the restrictions. And then you can see the before and after here. Looks like they put in new windows, new siding, roof gutters. They repaired a wall and the breakers in the house, updated the electrical, and also the lead-based clearance test at the end. So this homeowner was very happy with the end results on making sure that their home is decent, safe, and sanitary. And then we can jump on to the next success story is this was an RD 504 loan for $19,660. That one had a monthly payment of only $90.42. You can see the major difference in the completed repairs, siding, windows, and roof. So that was another successful homeowner. I think that we will kind of, the rest is kind of income limits and stuff. You guys can use these links to go on and check your income limits, property eligibility. There's a Minnesota RD website. Just logging on to these will help you identify if you would be a good candidate for our program. And then if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and Ashley will let me know at the end if there's any questions, and I will go ahead and get back to her with any information that I can provide if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol, so much. And we'll move on to Beth Davies with AEOA.
Good morning. I am the Lending and Construction Program Lead here at AEOA, and today I'm going to talk to you about two programs, the Rehabilitation Loan Program and the Emergency Loan Program. There are many similarities between the two with a few differences. We call them the RLP and ELP. They assist low-income homeowners in financing home improvements that directly affect the safety, habitability, energy efficiency, and accessibility of their homes. AEOA currently serves Cook, Itasca, Koochiching, Lake, and St. Louis counties, excluding the city of Duluth. These programs are funded by Minnesota Housing, and they're available throughout the state. AEOA is the administrator in the counties I mentioned. Homeowners within the city of Duluth should contact One Roof Community Housing for assistance. First, we'll talk about eligibility. Starting with income, you must meet the program income limits that are shown in the table. There's a reduction of $1,000 per household member, and using a household of one as an example, the income limits are $26,100, but we can immediately deduct $1,000, so essentially that would be $27,100. If you have continuous and ongoing medical expenses, we can look at those as a deduction to your income as well. And typically these income limits will change on an annual basis. Other eligibility requirements: you must live in Minnesota, own and occupy the property, and I'll go into a little bit more detail there, possess at least 1/3 in ownership interest. So if you've deeded the property to 2 of your children and left yourself in title, so 3 of you own it, you possess 1/3 ownership, and you would be eligible. Your children would then also need to sign the mortgage as they have an ownership interest in the property. Ownership in any form of a trust is not eligible. Ownership subject to reverse mortgage is also not eligible. A life estate is eligible, but the mortgage must be signed by the remainder men and their spouses. You must be current with mortgage payments if you're making a monthly payment on a mortgage, and property taxes. The asset limit is $25,000. This would exclude your primary residence, 1 automobile, and retirement accounts. Next, we're going to go to the loan terms. So homes taxed as personal real estate have a 15-year term, and they're secured by a mortgage lien. Manufactured homes taxed as personal property have a 10-year term, and they're secured by a lien against the title. The loans are 0% interest, meaning there's no monthly payments, and they're forgiven at the end of the term if you continue to own and occupy as your principal residence. If you move out, transfer, or sell the home before the loan is forgiven, you may have to repay all or part of the loan, but that would be at 0% interest. The maximum loan amount for the RLP is $37,500, and currently for the ELP, it is $27,000. Next, we'll go to eligible improvements. For the RLP, this is an example. There are more: electrical wiring, furnace and boiler replacement, windows, doors, siding, roofing, plumbing, septic system upgrades, water heater repair and replacement, mold and radon mitigation, and address lead-based paint hazards. If the home was built prior to 1978, we must do a lead-based paint risk assessment and then include any of those hazards in our scope of work. ELP eligible improvements. The emergency loan can also be used for accessibility, and often we're leveraging the two programs together to do the most we can for the client based on their needs. So some examples of ELP eligible improvements are heating, electrical, plumbing, or septic system failures, foundation, walls, roof that could collapse, and accessibility improvements. So I've detailed some examples of those here: a ramp, bathroom renovation, including but not limited to a walk-in shower, walk-in tub, grab bars, washer dryer relocation. Often that's from the basement to the main level of the home. flooring to prevent trip hazards, widening of doorways to accommodate wheelchairs, and stair lifts to safely access multiple levels of the home. And again, we often leverage the RLP and ELP together, but we can just do an ELP alone to address accessibility issues. Next, I'm going to go through the process. So the homeowner would complete an application with AEOA. We'll complete an inspection to determine the deficiencies found in the home and the needs of the client. AEOA, your inspector, will write a scope of work. The homeowner will review that for approval. The homeowner selects the contractors for bidding, and AEOA will solicit bids for the project. Once we have a bid that you've approved and would like to move forward with, AEOA submits the loan to Minnesota Housing for a clear to close. When we have that, we sign loan documents and contract documents, and then that contractor can proceed with the work. AEOA will monitor project progress and complete a final inspection and remit payment directly to the contractor upon satisfactory completion. And then here we have a before and after. So with this project, we did a new roof, soffit, fascia, windows, siding, storm door, and then those front entry steps were replaced. So that's an example of some of the exterior work that can be done with these loans. And then lastly is my contact information. If you have any questions or want to talk through any of the eligibility or what would be eligible in terms of improvements, please reach out to me directly.
Thank you very much, Beth. We appreciate it.
Yes.
And now we will move on to Don Burnett with Access North.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Don Burnett. I'm the Executive Director of Access North. Happy to be here with you this morning. A little bit about Access North. We are a center for independent living. Centers for independent living exist in every state of the nation. Thank you, Ashley. And they are statutory by nature, which means they exist under federal law. At least 50% of our board and staff have to be people with disabilities. So we are a disability-led organization. A little bit about the home access program. It really is about ramps, slow rise stairs, home modifications, and smart home technologies to make your home more accessible. Just a couple of our volunteer ramp builds. We always have people in our shop that are use this as team building exercises, things like Blue Cross Blue Shield. Some of the local churches do God's work with our hands. We have employee ramp builds. Those are typically people in our offices like, Medicaid billers, payroll clerks, or case managers. So people who certainly don't have any kind of construction experience, but it gives them an awesome opportunity to be able to participate, in something that one of our great programs. Official ramp, that's the building official ramp builds. Go back a little bit, Ashley. And if you wanted to change that setting, we could, Ashley.
I will work on that while you keep talking.
It's under PowerPoint transitions, and you have to click the first box on the top left that just says that it's gonna be a presenter led presentation, I guess, or there's a setting there.
Okay.
So with the building officials, we gather building officials annually from all across the upper northern Minnesota and pull them together. They have a great day working together. And of course, then it gives us nice relationships with those building officials who obviously issue the permits and understand a little bit more about our building process. Okay, next slide. Just an example of some of the different things. A lot of these businesses use these projects as team building. We've done projects with Home Depot, Walmart, like we said, Blue Cross Blue Shield, God's Work Our Hands. So there's just a lot of different groups coming together, Cummings Diesel. So we've had just a variety of groups, and we're always looking for groups that are interested in doing either a ramp build in the shop where you're building ramp modules, which is like a dock section, or you could be out on site actually doing a ramp installation. Typically, we can have a ramp completed in about 6 hours at the home site. Next slide. And if we do a ramp build, of course, we provide all the tools and, of course, the support and training. Just another example of some of the ramp builds that we've done in the area. We always try to honor our veterans. Next slide. This was a fire ambulance build back in 2017. Next slide. Just a few examples of some of the ramps. And next slide. Here you can see a ramp and a transition below. And next slide. And over 1,900 ramps have been built across northeastern Minnesota since the program inception. We're hoping this year to have our 2,000th ramp construction during our 40th anniversary. So Access North this year is celebrating our 40th anniversary as a Center for Independent Living. Next slide. Here's some examples of low-rise stairs. Of course, the tread riser on something like this is closer to 4 to 5 inches, as opposed to what you typically see is 7 to 8 inches. Next slide. And some examples of some thresholds, and these are some interior thresholds. Having accessible access to the house is one feature, but we knew that we needed to start working on getting and creating accessibility throughout the interior of the home beyond the threshold. So we started doing home modifications several years ago, and so a variety of different walk-in showers, grab bars, of course, handrails. We're doing some larger projects now, like widening doorways and and very large construction projects. These tub cuts are kind of unique, so we can cut away the side of a tub, and it can be in no matter what the tub is made of, if it's steel or if it's some kind of fiberglass or whatever it may be, we still can cut away the side of the tub, and it is an option for some people to provide an accessible entrance. Again, for some people, if you add a couple grab bars, a handheld shower wand, and a shower chair, you can create an accessible entrance into the tub. And it can be done for about 1/10 of the cost of what you would pay for a walk-in shower. Next slide. Couple of examples of assistive technology that might help improve accessibility is certainly like a Ring doorbell, to be able to be in your rocker and to be able to see who's at the door, talk with that person, and then even allow them entrance into the home if you have a smart lock connected to a tablet. Of course, with a tablet, you can also then add things like lighting control and automated lights. You can also, some of the nice things about the Nest Protect system too, is you can have thermostatic control from your smartphone or tablet. And then also it's nice to have CO and smoke detectors in the homes that are smart, so that what they'll actually do is you can program who would be contacted if either one of those devices were to be set off. And so if you had a smoke alarm that was going off, you could have family alerted to that fact through those Nest Protect. Next slide. Certainly accessibility helps with aging in place, giving people another 5 to 7 years in their home. It certainly improves safety for everyone, enhances your home value, marketability, and of course, supporting people with disabilities. We're all acquiring disability every day. Next slide. Some considerations with remodeling or new construction, certainly thinking about step-free entrances, widened doorways at least 36 inches, lever style door handles, well-lit pathways, entry points. Next slide. And then certainly thinking about open floor plans for easier mobility, non-slip flooring materials, minimum 32-inch doorways, 36-inch wide hallways, and then of course some of the smart technology that we talked about that can help improve accessibility and functionality throughout the home. Next slide. Some considerations in a kitchen might be countertops at varying heights, having things like pull-out shelves, drawers, side opening ovens, lowered microwaves, and certainly handled touch activated faucets all make things much easier on the homeowner. Next slide. considerations for bathrooms, walk-in or roll-in showers, grab bars in your toilets and showers, comfort height toilets, and certainly sink clearance for wheelchair access. Some of the smart home technology, like we talked about, voice-activated lights, thermostats, security, adjustable countertops, cabinets, motion-censored faucets and lights, and emergency call systems. And one of the nice things too now with the Apple Watches is that they will have a fall alert, built right into the watch. Next slide. We've had a longstanding collaboration with the Department of Corrections, and so the correctional facilities at Togo and Willow River both work on our ramp projects. Togo sends people to our shop in Hibbing, and we send lumber to a Willow River Correctional Facility, and they build ramp modules for us. And so that's been a long-standing collaboration. Of course, lots of different businesses and community volunteers come out, spend time in our shop. And again, it's a great team building exercise, and it can be kind of created to be a couple 2 to 3 hour event indoors, or it could be something out on site. So we can tailor that if you're wanting to do that. And I would certainly encourage Arrowhead Agency on Aging to consider something like that. We do of course, we work with all of local foundations and try to make sure that we certainly work with the Live Well at Home grants through DHS. Have great relationships with that. We've been working with the local career academies and have youth in our shops building those ramp modules and spindles and a variety of different things. And so we try to continue those collaborations for youth. And then also those would be opportunities for some of those youth, of course, to have internships. Next slide. So again, volunteers, work experiences, internships, and community service. And it's easy to reach out to us in any way. If you call the office in any of the 1-800 numbers or give us an email, our reception is going to get you to the right person. And so one of the emails I mentioned that I'm going to add to this, of course, in the future here is info@accessnorth.net. So info@accessnorth.net or referral@accessnorth.net. Those are both opportunities to be able to just reach out to us. Someone will make sure you get to the right person. And the same, of course, as if any phone number you use, you're going to reach our reception and they're going to connect you to an independent living coordinator who will help you navigate any of the eligibility or application process that might be needed. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Don. We appreciate it. And now we'll move on to Mary Junela with the Lighthouse Center for Vital Living.
There. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Mary.
Okay, great. I'm Mary Junela. I'm the Executive Director of the Lighthouse Center for Vital Living. Next slide. I'm going to go through these kind of quickly, just as a warning. So who is the Lighthouse? We help older adults and people with disabilities live safe, independent, and vital lives. Our value statement: we believe in the dignity of all human lives. That you might know us previously as the Duluth Lighthouse for the Blind. We've been around in the area for more than 100 years. We started expanding our mission really about 15 years ago. And why did we do this? We now serve people across any disability area, not just blindness or low vision, and also any older adult. So why did we do this? Really in response to better meet the needs of older adults and people with disabilities across the Northland. And also just even the changing nature of disability. I mean, it literally used to be that low vision or blindness were more isolated disabilities. Co-occurring disabilities are so common now that we found that to serve our primary population groups, we were looking at broader things. And likewise, on the other side, we had expertise that could be helping people across a lot of areas. Assistive technology has long been part of the blindness field. So yeah, and then we were hiring low vision occupational therapists to work with low vision, and again, coming up with other issues that crossed many disability areas. So the Lighthouse today, we continue to provide our traditional adjustment to blindness training that we have for, more than 100 years. And we have added assistive technology division that includes an expansive device loan library. And we have added occupational therapists. This multi-dimensional, crossing areas of expertise is really something that distinguishes us, I think, as an organization. And we collaborating across professions is something that we take very seriously. Okay, next slide. And we also rely on a wide range of funding sources to pay for our services. Sometimes that can make our business model difficult, but one of the advantages to that is that we can serve people across many different areas and different income levels, etc. So we bill medical insurance, we bill waivers. We're a member of the STAR program for device loans and demonstrations for assistive technology devices. We work closely with state services for the blind and Voc Rehab. We're privileged to get a lot of different grants and contracts. And then we also do help individuals explore individual grant opportunities if there might not be another way to fund something. Okay, next slide. And among that funding, that does include funding for minor home modifications. I would say that this would usually be part of comprehensive services that we're providing. We don't just hand out, grants to individuals for a particular home modification. But if we're working with somebody or they're referred to us, we're looking at their overall aging in place needs, and there is something that is needed. We have written money into most of our grants to help with purchasing assistive technology and or doing minor home modifications. And by minor, I mean up to about $500. That's not a hard limit, but that's kind of the average. So we're not talking about a $20,000 renovation, but if there's something that's needed, a grab bar or widening a doorway or something like that, we have those funds available to help with that. We are also collaborating with Equilibrium 3, based in Lincoln Park. And if any of you know that organization, they work with energy efficiency assessments and modifications. And so we're going to be doing some cross referrals kind of as an experiment, a pilot program. If we're in the home and we're looking at, they're going to train us how to be looking at energy efficiency needs when we would be referring to them. And likewise, when their professionals are going into homes, they're going to know when to refer back to us for a more comprehensive aging in place kind of services. And then likewise, we're funded by Title III, Older Americans Act, and other sources for our technology projects. Okay, next slide. So what does that look like? Our occupational therapy services are based in the home or at our center or remotely, kind of a combination of whatever works for the individual. And the focus is home safety, independent living, and adapting to functional challenges and promoting overall quality of life. Okay, next slide. So just to get an idea of what's possible with that, this is a picture of Louise when she was 92 years old, living alone with vision loss. We helped her with some, fairly basic kinds of changes and training so that she had new skills, but we helped her get set up with a personal emergency management system. Family could drop in and check on her visually via an Echo Show. She learned to use that device for phone numbers, for creating her grocery list, et cetera, et cetera. And here she is out in her garden wearing her monitor, and she's also continuing to do her reading in non-traditional ways, non-visual ways, and calling friends, and here living safely and happily. Next slide. We do also help people, especially kind of coming home after a health crisis, say somebody's hospitalized, all of a sudden they need a bunch of things at home to be able to make that transition out of the hospital or the rehab facility, they may also need some training from our occupational therapist to assess the situation, that kind of thing. So we can put into place that whole array of services. We do also have, we don't build ramps. We have some ramp loan programs called a roller ramp. So we can install a temporary ramp for folks, in situations where you didn't know that you were going to need that right away, and then lend various different pieces of equipment. Okay, next slide. And we do a lot with lighting and low vision, given our mission. A lot of times people don't understand how hugely important lighting is, and we have lighting specialists or occupational therapists are specialized in doing those assessments. It's not just low light or high light. There's also all sorts of different colors of light and types of lighting, and it's literally true that the right lighting can make sometimes more difference than a magnification. So just getting that done, and then magnification can be electronic magnifiers like you see here. It can be something that you do on your phone, or handheld magnifiers. There's lots of different options. Okay. Lots of different assistive technology around the home that are both our occupational therapists and our assistive technology professionals are highly trained to help know how to suggest the right device, train somebody how to use it, do the trials. If that's not right, let's get it right. Let's go back and do something else. So here you're looking at, specialized eating utensils, bath, shower chair. Next slide, please. And keep in mind that, we're talking about home adaptations, but sometimes even really seemingly minor home adaptations can be life-changing or life-altering. Here, you can see on the stove the orange bump dots that allow this woman who has very low vision to know if she has turned on or off her stove and that kind of thing. So again, getting the right kind of help to the person at the right time is what we hope that we're doing. Okay, next slide. We too do a lot of work around smart home installations, blinds, or music that might be operated by an Alexa voice command for people who maybe can't operate those things physically, and then also the whole wide array of things that can be done with Alexas these days. Next slide. A lot of different alerting devices, and again, getting the right thing for the right person. It might be, a floor mat that senses if somebody's getting out of bed at night, door alarms, cameras, fall detection, etc. Next slide. Here's an example of something that we work with called a Sky Angel. It works right out of the box when you buy the device, and it detects falls, or it has a push button SOS system, and cannot locate your exact location if you're unresponsive. Okay, go ahead. Apple Watch, like Don mentioned, very powerful. Next slide. Other safety monitoring is a freedom alert, and ring cameras, motion sensors, pressure sensors, a lot of different options that we can help somebody get set up for the right thing. Go ahead. Echo shows, we've talked a lot about that. We can go on. Just a testimony about something called an Angel Sense, a GPS monitoring system. We work with that device for people of all ages. Might be, a child who has autism, who is maybe at wander risk. They can wear that. It might be an adult who's wanting and quite capable to go out in the community, but everybody would feel more comfortable if there's a way to monitor, and in fact that gives the person more freedom. Or it might be an older adult, especially somebody with dementia who's or early stages of dementia, who's living alone, so that we can know if that person does wander. Okay, next slide. Just more information about the Angel Sense. Prescription or subscription cost $539 per year. Just again, a number of other options that have been mentioned. Don mentioned many of these things. Stove, cooktop, stove minders that can detect if somebody doesn't turn off the stove, tub overflow alerts, CO2, smoke alarms, motion detection for the bed and wheelchair, etc. Go ahead. And in this day of staff shortages, the ability to age in place often is going to depend on technology because we simply cannot get enough people to staff situations for somebody maybe just literally, especially in a rural area, you cannot hire somebody in enough shifts. So, think of technology in that way. And technology can also provide remote connection for people. Okay, next slide. So our approach is unique in that we build our services on expert individualized assessment and training. It's not just about the device, as important and as empowering as the devices are, and it's never about a one-size-fits-all approach. I think a lot of times because assistive technology is so powerful, the temptation is to think I just need the right device, but we really like to work closely with somebody to make sure that we're getting the right thing for them at the right time. And also thinking of it, not only are there limited resources for buying devices, but there's a lot of people have limited time and a limited bandwidth for what they're going to be willing and able to try. So they might be super eager to try something. We encounter a lot of, no, that didn't work. I tried that. And then if you get the wrong thing at that point, the window of opportunity may have closed. So we really do encourage people to get that expert assessment from our assistive technology professionals and our occupational therapists. Okay, next slide. And contact us. Another thing that I want to add is that we do serve people across the income spectrum. And it really varies on the particular need and the particular interventions that we're talking about, what the cost might be and who might pay for it. So the real answer is just call us and find out what we can do. We do often ask for a voluntary cost share for people who can afford that. We will sometimes be billing medical insurance. It really depends on the situation. So it's kind of a matching situation to come up with, but there's a broad range of possibilities. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mary. We appreciate it. And we have finally, and last but certainly not least, Jamie Magellan with Itasca's Habitat for Humanity.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me today. I'm going to talk about our home preservation program that we have under our umbrella. We also have our new home program where we build houses with families. This is a cutie of one of our families here on my first slide. And then we also have our Restore 2, and I'll mention a little bit about the Restore 2 today. So our mission is to provide community relationships, to provide affordable housing for those in need. We do this with the vision to reduce the number of families living in substandard housing by providing opportunities and resources for successful home ownership. That includes home preservation as well. So our home preservation program is for owner-occupied homes, so and for low-income families. So we go up to 60% of the area median income for our program. The family pays the cost of the materials, and then we bring in volunteer labor to help reduce that cost versus hiring a contractor to do those repairs. Then what it is, it's a low monthly payment back to Habitat at 0% interest. So we do 0% interest loans. We make the payments affordable for those homeowners as well. In this picture, you can see we redid a sidewalk between a house and a garage entrance for an older adult, where the sidewalk was really cracked and heaved, and it was becoming a really bad tripping hazard for her. We ask families to also put in some sweat equity if available on the project. So that could be providing snacks and water for the volunteers. That could be coming in and helping maybe with a mailing at the office. That could be even going to a school and reading to children. We just really encourage those homeowners that we work with to get out and to give some time to kind of pay back a little bit of the hand up that they were given. This is a shed and house that we repainted for another family. So some things that we've done: siding, decks, sidewalks, painting, a yard cleanup, windows, doors, plumbing and electrical. We have to hire out, obviously, because it's not our house. We have to hire professionals to do that, but we will look at funding that cost and having small monthly payments for individuals. We once helped an individual who had been carrying buckets of water from her bathtub to her kitchen for probably 7 years, because her faucet didn't work in the kitchen. She had a toilet that was leaking, and then we had to replace some subfloors. Her shower head didn't work in her shower. She hadn't taken a shower in like 5 years. And we hired a plumber to come in and fix all those things for her. And she still calls us on a monthly basis, probably thanking us, and just how great it is to be able to utilize her house to the fullest extent again. We also replaced some windows on this house that we also did that sidewalk on as well. These are our income limits. So our top income limits for that 60% AMI and the different household sizes. This does change based on the yearly HUD income limits as well. Since 2011, when we started home preservation, we've done 77 projects. We partner a lot with United Way locally, and then we've also partnered with Northeast United Way to do what we call a day of action. It's a kind of a national day for United Ways to do a day of action, but we've kind of morphed that to coming into a community. We canvass the community, see who has these type of projects that need to be done. And we usually mobilize up to like 200 volunteers for one day in that community. Last year, we did this project in Keewatin, and we did 19 residential projects, and we helped out with 5 city projects, and we also helped out with a business project. And so that was the largest day of action we've had so far. This summer, we're going to be in Nashwauk doing that same type of work. We've also done days of action in Deer River, Bovey, Coleraine, and there's some more that in Grand Rapids as well. So that kind of totals our 77 projects. I should also say too that we do require homeowners to have current homeowners insurance. They have to be current on their taxes as well. When we look at them signing up for our program, there is paperwork to fill out to qualify. Those that are interested can get a hold of me. We're hopefully going to be able to get some capacity funding to hire one position to handle just this program. We're kind of working on that right now. Because we're expanding in our house builds from 1 to 3 houses this year too. So we're getting close to capacity for staff. But the other thing I was going to mention too is our restore is helpful for aging individuals as well. If they have furniture they need to get rid of, but don't usually have a way that they can lift it, haul it, stuff like that, we do have free pickup if they want to donate to our restore as well. So I like to throw that out there too. I was short and sweet because I know we're short on time.
Thank you so much, Jamie. And thank you to all of our speakers for being with us today and for sharing your expertise. And thank you to all of you for joining us for today's session. We encourage you to check out our schedule of webinars, both on our Facebook page and our website at arrowheadaging.org. Also take a moment to check out the variety of content on our YouTube channel. And we wanted just to, I didn't see that there was any questions in the chat, but are there any questions from anyone who has joined us today? You can feel free if you've got a question, if you want to just take yourself off of mute and ask.
Brenda, I'm just wondering if we can get copies of all of these slides. All this information is really great.
Yep, we will have, Ashley will be sending out a follow-up email to everyone with copies of everything. I also wanted to, we are going to be coming up in April 3rd through the 6th, the Area Agency on Aging along with Lighthouse and Access North are going to be out at the Arrowhead Home and Builder Show. So I want to encourage folks to stop by the booth and check that out. I've also put in the chat some information from AARP, their home fit guide, and there's also a full video tour that folks can check out with recommendations on how you can make your home a home for a lifetime. So all sorts of great resources out there. Any other questions? as Ashley's got on the slide there, ways that you can just for some reminder of ways that you can connect with us on a variety of platforms. Again, we welcome you to check out all of the offerings on our YouTube channel and all of our upcoming sessions, and we wish you a wonderful day. Thanks so much.